Hi, my name is Michaela and I'm a freediving coach and a Guinness World Record holder. If you struggle with breaststroke kick, this video is for you. Over the years, I was able to transform my weak and non-existent kick to it being my secret weapon. First, we will identify your weaknesses, and then I will show you 3 exercises how you can improve them. This process may take some time, but as with everything in life, you get out what you put in. Let's get started. So over the years, I've noticed on my students that if they are able to do a low deep squat with no problems, then they're able to have quite a strong and powerful kick in the water. So the first test is to see if you can do a deep squat, keeping your feet parallel, hip width apart, and simply just resting here. If you can't do this, then there may be a few problems. First, it can be your ankles, because here we need to do what's called a dorsiflexion of an ankle. So moving forward, so making sure your feet can stay on the ground. Or it can be a problem with your hip. We need to work on the hip flexion. And for powerful kick, we also need to work on plantar flexion of the foot. These 3 things go all together. Also, I find that a lot of people don't pay attention to their push off the wall. If you have a very strong push off the wall and you cover already 8, 9, 10 to 12 meters, that saves you so much energy. If you are able to do deep squat, you're able to have a very strong push off the wall, and also you will be able to have the mobility required for your breaststroke kick. So let's start with the hip flexion test. See if you can push your foot towards your armpit. Then we switch. I'm testing my right. And sometimes they are very different. So your left hip might be more open, or your right hip might be more open. My hips are pretty even by now, and I have no gap. Great. And if you had any, space, this is how you can fix it. So we're going to stretch into the hip joint by leaning into it. I'm stretching my left-hand side here. And usually I try to stay in this position for 1 to 2 minutes even sometimes. Breathing into it. I often close my eyes, and when I exhale, I deepen the stretch and relax into it. Let's switch sides. Step your left foot forward and sink low into the right hip. Let's do 3 deep breaths in and out through the nose. When you exhale, you fully relax and deepen the stretch. Next, we are going to test dorsiflexion of the ankles. They are important because if your ankles are flexible, you will be able to start close to the wall, have a really nice strong push-off, and then your kick will also be very powerful because we are working a lot with our ankles in the kick. Start on your knees and step your right foot forward, and then see how far you can lean forward without actually raising the heel of the floor. Now I'm going to do my left ankle. And this action is really connected to our calf muscles. Okay, we have 3 calf muscles: gastrocnemius, soleus, and plantaris. And if you work on flexibility and mobility of these muscles, then over time you're going to improve your kick. And I can also do another quick test in my downward dog. See if my heels easily reach the floor in this position, which they do by now, but in the past they definitely did not. Now I'm going to show you an exercise how to improve your dorsiflexion of an ankle. Step 1 foot forward. And now I am stretching into my left heel, stretching all my calf muscles by trying not to raise my heel. So my heel is firmly on the floor. If your ankle is not flexible, then you obviously come up higher. The more flexible it is, the more lower you can get. So let's stay here for 3 deep breaths. And I'm going to switch my feet. Step the left foot forward, right foot back. Great. Putting this together, your hip flexion and dorsiflexion of an ankle. I go into my deep squat, and then I'm going to go for a walk. So I'm making sure that my knees are following my feet, and I'm using the whole entire sole of my foot to make a step. I'm a little bit wobbly, so you can help your balance by gently just touching the ground. So I do 3 or 4 steps forward, and then same thing, I'm going back. So making sure that there is no strain on my knee. If you can't go this low, obviously you stay higher. But as the time goes by and your mobility improves, you will be able to go low. Let's go for one more walk, up and down. And this sort of thing will also improve your bifin kick. If you can do this, then your bifin kick will be really balanced and efficient. It won't be wobbly. Now the last thing, we are going to work on the plantar flexion of the foot, which is this movement. Okay? So why is this important? Well, we use this a lot when we glide, right? So you go from this position on the wall, and then as soon as you glide, you go into this position. And most people are able to do that, but the thing is that you should feel relaxed when your foot is in this position. So if you feel any strain or pressure or discomfort, then this is something to work on. And how do you test the plantar flexion of your foot? Well, sit down and see how far you can walk your feet with making sure that your toes are still touching the floor and your heel is on the floor. How far can you go? And are your feet even, or is one foot more flexible than the other? I can go about this far, before I would have to start raising my toes off the floor. So this is one exercise I do every day, and it really helps a lot to improve those ankles. So first, see if you can sit on top of your heels in this position. And then I'm going to move my weight backwards. So kind of rocking my weight towards my heels. And you find that there is this really quite a challenging spot where you definitely feel the tips of your toes being stretched and flexed, and that's where you stay for 3 breaths at least. If this felt okay, I'll show you version 2. Come up onto your knees and transfer your weight 1 foot at a time. You can start like this, just pressing your toes towards the floor and applying a bit of weight 1 foot at a time. And then one day maybe you can go 2 feet up, 1 at a time. This is really advanced, so don't start with this if you've never done this today. And then when you put everything all together, you should be able to go into your deep squat in a relaxed way. So like this. And then doing 10 really high jumps from deep squat, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let me know in the comments below, how did you go? Thank you, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and my new online course, No Fins, No Worries. All the details are on my website. Thank you.